In this video we are going to rank every single gambit you can play for white, so you know which ones will crush your opponents and which ones stink. Again with the rating, just play the lund, shut the frick up, we are gambiting to victory. Let's begin. The Albin Gambit starts after e4, e6, d4, d5, bishop e3, sacrificing the pawn on e4. The idea is that, after they take it, we play f3, and either we get ahead on development, or we open up the f-file and take the center with great attacking potential. It works surprisingly well but can also be slow, so it goes at the top of B tier. Belgrade Gambit was invented 30 years ago with war crimes. Just kidding, it starts out in the 4 knights opening, where after giving up a pawn on d4, white jumps into the center with the knight, offering another pawn. Of course it can't be taken as white gets insane development in, potentially long castles and takes the full initiative. Black, being naturally dumber, often fails to defend this bombastic position. White has making this a very solid choice and deserving of the B tier. In this position, instead of sacrificing a pawn, white can sacrifice a whole freaking knight with knight takes e5, deploying the Halloween Gambit. With no other option but to accept it, black is in for a torture. It is actually statistically the best move in this position, where white has a huge winning percentage, plus it's super fun, so it easily goes into the S tier. Go watch our video on it if you want to learn it. It starts out in the Caro-Kann defense, where after knight g5 black thinks they are winning a tempo by simply kicking our knight away, having no idea we are about to sacrifice him for the initiative and light square weaknesses. From this point on, we start a crazy attack, in which we are going to sacrifice minor pieces and checkmate the black king. This opening is basically farming elo points and tasting bitter tears of opponents. We also have a video out on it, so go learn it. S tier opening. Anytime you blunder your queen, instead of feeling sad, just start yelling Tennison Gambit and your wounds will heal easier. Then you will realize you are a grown man talking to himself and going insane. The voices are becoming louder and soon you'll be placed in asylum. E tier. Blackmar-Diemer Gambit starts out with d4, d5, e4, d takes e4 and now knight c3, developing the knight. Black plays knight f6, keeping his pawn alive while developing, and now we attack it with f3. They will always take the pawn, and now we develop our knight with knight takes f3, and we have gained developing advantage for the cost of 1 pawn. If black knows what they are doing and take it slow, they will simply be up a central pawn, equalize soon, and it will be hard to do anything as white. D tier. e4, e5, d4, d takes e4, and now c3, gambiting a pawn, d takes c4, and now you have 2 options. First is to play knight takes c3 and proceed from that point on, something similar to the Scotch Gambit. While good, you have a much more sigma move, bishop c4, offering the b2 pawn as well.
Holy shit, Will, here goes nothing.
We load up the bishop pair from hell and are ready to launch a crazy attack on black, a tier shit right here.
Want to improve even faster? Join Top Tier's army for the price of 3 ice creams a month and get a free one-on-one coaching session.
Also, weekly coaching calls, daily positions and so much materials will grind you up to 2000 elo. Join now.
Anyway, where was I? Yes, the Evans Gambit starts out in the Italian game, where after black plays bishop c5, every single viewer of Agate Matters chess channel opens their eyes and says to himself, that move is of course b4. Black pretty much has to accept it, so after bishop takes b4, white starts winning tempo and ends up with a dominant central position ready to play the game of his life. Due to its rich history, we can all agree that Evans Gambit is deserving of the S tier. The Greco Gambit is basically the retarded little brother of Evans Gambit, as instead of playing pawn b4 we play pawn c3, taking our sweet time. Black can very easily deviate, and it will probably be rare to even deploy the Gambit, and if you do it's not that anyway, so just play the Evans Gambit. E tier. The however you pronounce that name Gambit starts with e4, e5, d4, e takes d4, f4, basically, bluffing that you are going for a kingside attack and postponing taking on d4. The reality is that you don't have clear ideas on what you are doing, and your only hope is them being so confused too, that they blunder something stupid. Play this if you are weird or something.
Oh god, not again.
The fan-favorite variation of the Tennison Gambit happens after e4, d5, knight f3, d takes e4, knight g5, knight f6, d3, e takes d3, bishop takes d3, h6, knight takes f7, bishop g6 check, king takes g6, and now the obvious move, launching the RT-2 PM2 cold-launched 3-stage solid propellant silo-based intercontinental ballistic missile. Black has no choice but to resign and we win the game. Absolute S-tier opening. e4, e5, f4. The King's Gambit is a gigachat opening like all gambits pretty much. It's a lot of fun but it's very hard to play and you can get in trouble easily. C-tier. The Queen's Gambit is literally a scam as it's not even a gambit. Unlike all the good gambits, Black doesn't have to actually accept it and you end up playing the declined version always. And if they do take, it's not like they can hold on to that material advantage, so you are not even gambiting that pawn as you are guaranteed one back. So the guy who called this a gambit. Scam. Anyway, it's a good opening, but in gambit terms it's no gambit, so it goes straight into the E tier. Starts out with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, e takes d4 and bishop c4, preparing a crazy attack. We have a video out on this opening, so go ahead and learn it there. You'll have some amazing attacking games and wish you had learned it earlier. A tier opening. The most common gambit you can play against the Sicilian defense, the Smith-Morra Gambit. After d4 and pawn takes d4 we play pawn c3, preparing to recapture with the knight and gain a lead in development. However, Black has this nasty move pawn d3, where he gives the pawn back and forces us to go to unnatural squares, especially with our pawn still on c3. However, if they don't know what they are doing and accept the gambit, it can be a very powerful resource. B tier. The Vienna Gambit happens in the Vienna game where we play the move f4, hoping Black will take us, allowing our pawn to march to e5, forcing their knight away and buying us a ton of time. The problem is they don't have to take, so it's not really a gambit. Still, the Vienna game itself is very good and we'll put the gambit in the B tier. Another gambit against the Sicilian, where after c5 we play b4 and even a 3, giving up both flank pawns in order to open up our pieces and gain development advantage. The biggest threat this opening offers is taking your opponent outside the preparation, making them uncomfortable. I'll put it in the E tier though.
If you haven't already, go ahead and join Top Chess Army. You are literally investing in yourself by joining there, so don't wait upon it. With a free one-on-one coaching call and weekly group calls, you will be getting your money's worth.
He is right, folks. That would be all from me now. You are ready to go crush your friends at New Year's party night and impressing all the females out there, instead of watching the weather app on the phone waiting for your dad to come pick you up. By the way, here are the winners from December 7th. Also, here are the new members of Top Chess Army. See you later, kings.